This is 8.5 factoring, and you are going to reverse the order of taking a binomial times a binomial. You're going to take this trinomial and break it up into as many pieces as you can. Okay, and then what we'll do is, just so you can plan ahead here, we got problems 1 we'll put in our notes, and 2, 3, we are going to skip, we'll probably do this one, but we'll probably end up skipping this one here. So 4 problems for your notes, and here's the first one. So what you do is you have to identify what your A, B, and C is. Your A is the number in front of x squared, your A is 1. Your B is 8, and your C is 15. Off to the side, you should rate your AC number, where you take the number that represents A and times it by C. Since your A was 1, and your C is 15, 1 times 15 is 15. Then you're going to create the box, the one we've been working earlier, and we're going to reverse the order. We're going to work from the inside out. In the top left is always, in this problem here, x squared. Bottom right is 15. Now we're going to come up with factors of 15, like 1 times 15. 1 times 15 gives you 15, but when you add 1 and 15 together, you get 16. We're looking to try to get to 8. Okay, the next one would be negative 1 times negative 15. 2 negatives equal positive, right? But this gives you negative 16. We don't want this one, and we don't want this one. 3 times 5 gives you 15, and when you add it together, gives you 8. All right, so we're going to use the numbers 3 and 5 to fill in the rest of the box here. 3x goes here, 5x goes here. From the top down, you'd say to yourself, what can you factor out of 1x squared and 3x? Between 3 and 1, you can only divide by 1. And between x squared and x, you could factor out an x. From the top down again, between 5 and 15, you could divide both of them by the number 5. You can't take the letter x out of both of them because 15 doesn't have one. From the side, between x squared and 5x, you could take out just a 1x. And between 3x and 15, you could divide them both by 3. Your final answer would be x plus 5 and x plus 3. If you'd FOIL that back out, you'd end up getting this answer. So if you ever want to check your work, easy to do. Okay, so a little bit different. Your AC number is 24 because 1 times 24 is 24. We'll fill in the box now with x squared in the top left corner, 24 in the bottom right. Factors of 24. Now you don't have to write them all out. You know, there's a lot of students that just think about it in their head. So like 1 times 24 is 25, right? Okay, so let's just get right to the answer. To get to negative 11, you could use negative 3 and negative 8, right? And then negative 3 and negative 8 is negative 11. Negative 3x goes in this corner. Negative 8x goes in this corner. From the top down, you could factor out between x squared and minus 3x. You could factor out an x. Between negative 8 and 24, you could factor out an 8. If the closest one to this is negative, like the negative 8, you keep it negative. Again, the one that's closest to the side, if it's negative, you throw a negative up there. From the other side, you could factor out an x between x squared and minus 8x. And between negative 3 and 24, you could factor out a 3. But since the closest one to this side is negative, you throw a negative 3 on there. Your answer is x minus 8 and x minus 3. AC number on this one is negative 15. Top left corner, you go x squared. Bottom right-hand corner, you go minus 15. Factors of 15, you could write them all out. Now, the big thing with this one is your AC number is negative. That forces one number to be positive and the other to be negative. For example, negative 1 times 15 is negative 15. When you add them together, though, you get 14. We're trying to get to 2. Okay, so let's just kind of get to the main ones here. It's going to be 3 and 5, but one of them is going to have to be negative. If you go with a negative 3 and a positive 5, that adds up to 2. So these are the numbers we're going to use. Negative 3 goes in this corner. Negative 3x goes in this corner. 5x goes in this corner. They can be interchanged. That's one thing I haven't mentioned yet. If you accidentally switch around the 5x and the minus 3x in the these two spots here, it's okay. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal. From the top down, between x squared and minus 3x, you think to yourself, what can you divide out of both of them, and it's a 1x. Between 5 and 15, you could divide them both by 5. Between x squared and 5x, you could factor out an x. Between minus 3x and minus 15, remember, it'd be negative because right here, the one closest to the side is negative, negative 3. So your answer, x plus 5 and x minus 3. There it is. Okay, now what they're saying here is, here's the area of a rectangle. Come up with the dimensions for the size. Now you remember, area of a rectangle is length times width. So we'll have something out here as an answer and something out here as an answer. So they're asking for what times what gives you this. All right, now, so what we're going to do is the same thing as all the other problems. You find your AC number, which is negative 35. You create a box. Factors of negative 35. There's quite a few of them, 1 and 35, that's always an option, but let's get right to the chase here. It's going to be 5 and 7, but the 35 is negative, so let's start with negative 5 and positive 7. That gives you 2 when you add them together. Well, that's not it, because we want a negative 2. So let's switch it around. Let's go with positive 5 and negative 7. That gives me that negative 2 that I wanted, so 5x goes here, minus 7x goes here, and then we go from the top down. Top down, you could factor out an x. A negative 7 on this one, positive x on this guy, and looks like we could divide both of them by 5. Okay, final answer would be x minus 7 and x plus 5. Okay, so the majority of the lesson will be this, and then on day 2 I would show you how to do this one, so we'll just kind of hold off on that, and then most of the homework looks like this, and definitely want to know how to do that guy as well. So, okay, of course, if you'd like to see this video again, look up my last name, and then the class you're taking, so algebra, and then this is section 8.5. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and see you tomorrow.